Okay, everyone, can you see me? If you can, just post a little thing in the chat just to make sure you can hear me and see me fine. Okay, thanks, John. Appreciate that. Hi, everyone. We're going to get started. We've got a very full day today, full morning at least. For the next hour, we'll be together. Really excited to be here for the 2026 launch of the Biocultural Strategy. And for those who are uh, speak Spanish, or for those speaking English, we do have translation, live translation happening. So if you go to the bottom of your Zoom link, you'll see a globe. Click on that globe and choose your preferred language. And Maria from our team will be doing live translation. Thank you so much, Maria. Very grateful for your time and attention to that. Um, Great. So why don't we go ahead and get started? We're gonna have we're still hoping to patch in a couple folks from Shara Mensa, so we may have to jumble up the schedule just a little bit, but should be no problem. We'll roll with how everyone is showing up and when they show up. But very excited to have you here. This has been a really long time coming. There's been so much hard work by this group of folks. I really just want to start by giving a shout out to the coalition of organizations and individuals who've been working super hard to put this event together, as well as just all of the work to push and develop the biocultural strategy and related movement. So I just want to start by giving a big shout out to the Amazon Sacred Headwaters, Fundación Pachamama, Pachamama Alliance, Stokeness Futures, and REA AS, and Regen Network. And you'll be hearing from also some of our allies and friends like Elise from Altos Planos and other individuals and folks who've been really deep in pushing this movement. So thank you for being here. So the first thing, everyone, is this time in life is crazy, right? There's so much going on. It's a very intense moment. It feels like historically, and this is an opportunity just to take a pause, just breathe for a moment, right? Big, deep breath in through your nose, big exhale through your mouth, and remember what we're doing and why we're doing it. This is a special moment, really, to be alive and to be, I think, really pushing hard for, as a collective here, in this case, for Indigenous led conservation and ecosystem repair. For all of us in whether you're in the global north or global south, to work together, to collaborate, to build something better and more beautiful. So take a breath, relax. This is going to be, I think, a really beautiful time just to understand all of the work that's gone into the development of the biocultural strategy and the related credits. So you may see some more technical stuff, but just know that this is all shared with love and intention in helping you understand how to invest in Indigenous-led stewardship, what is happening on the ground, what is happening in from the technological or infrastructure perspective, what is happening in the soil. So looking forward to sharing that all with you today. So yeah, as I mentioned, please, if you're coming in late, please introduce yourself in the chat. And also, if you prefer to speak or listen in Spanish, please hit the globe at the bottom. Or when our Spanish speakers are speaking and prefer to listen in English, you can choose that as well. Okay, let's keep moving. Thank you, everyone. Hope you had a good breath. So what we're going to do today, we're spending the first 5 minutes just as a welcome. We're going to get into the highlights, the year in review, just a really amazing work that's been happening on the ground. We'll be then moving into a report from the forest with our friends Veronica and Augustine. That will share a little bit from the Regen Network perspective on the state of the biocultural credit and the sales and marketing strategy. I want to be absolutely clear. There's a way for everyone to participate today in supporting this movement for Indigenous-led stewardship, and you'll learn how you can plug into doing that today. And then the larger vision for financing this over tens of millions of hectares with our friends over at Amazon Sacred Headwaters, and then we'll close out for the day. All of this is being recorded and will be shared with you and your colleagues. So let's jump right in. And I don't think Domingo, just to confirm if he is here. Yeah, full. And sorry, I'll make this full screen. Thank you. Somebody asked that. Um, I'll do that when I'm paying attention here. Did Domingo, was he able to show? I don't think so. If Domingo shows up, somebody just let me know in the chat, and I'll add him to for his comments. But otherwise, we'll keep moving. And just a reminder to our other speakers, as I was reminded by Maria, please speak slowly. Unfortunately, I don't do that when I get a little nervous. It sounds like, and Domingo will be joining us in just a few minutes. Okay, if we want to start with Joel or Veronica, you should have the floor. Do you want to go ahead and begin?
Well, thank you, David. So nice to be here with everyone. I hope that the interpretation is working. I'll make my presentation in Spanish so that my brothers and sisters from Charamensa can add anything they might deem pertinent. I just want to welcome you. We're very happy that you're participating in this webinar. The translation is fine. This is a strategy, biocultural strategy of the jaguar. This is a synergy between many wills, many intelligent people, many allies, and it's been led by the Achuar community of Charamensa and other communities, other amazing allies that collectively we learn, we walk this path that is so important for the Amazon and also for the whole planet. Next, please, David. So I just want to start letting you know where we are. We're in Ecuador. As you can see in the map on your far upper right-hand side, we're in the middle of the world, and we're part of the territory of the Sacred Headwaters, which is in the Ecuadorian Amazon and the northern part of the Peruvian Amazon. And we are in Achuar territory, the communities of Sharamanza, specifically where the pilot started, but we already started walking and working with other communities with the different lessons that we've learned. But we can move on, David. I want to show you this map, which is really important, which is the index or intactness of biodiversity, right? And this map, what it shows us is that the area that we're working in, which is the heart of the Sacred Headwaters, is one of the most biodiverse areas in the world, and where biodiversity is kept in a better state than the last decades. And that is why it is so important to preserve it. If we keep what this map shows us, the white square shows you where we're working in. And this is really important to see because you can see a territory that is surrounded by threats and pressure. You can see the blocks that are on the upper side, and these are oil wells. These blocks, the orange ones, and then also the ones on the left. Below, you can see the brown blocks, which are the mining concessions. So the heart of the Ecuadorian axis of the Ecuadorian forest has been very much conserved by indigenous peoples and also with civil society organizations in the last decades. And here's where we see the importance of acting with these sorts of models. Next, please. So we're going back to the Achuar territory that we were mentioning, and we can see that other than the threats that are already surrounding the territory and the communities where we work in, there's pressures of new highways for the first time in history in territories that have primary forests and indigenous communities. And this leads us to have an idea of the importance of consolidating a model that may permit to generate well-being and preserve the forest. So here, very briefly, I want to let you know that this is a process that has taken a long time, where organizations that are part of this process, we have made a call, or we have answered a call from indigenous communities, and that's how 1995 Pachamama Alliance started. And then in 2021, and then in 2020, during the pandemic, there was the community decided to defend themselves because it's important to understand that without a forest and without territory, there is no culture, and without culture, there's no forest. So that's how the strategy was born. So we see that we've been working, and now we find ourselves running the pilot in 2024, that we had the biocultural credits for the jaguar. And now we're in the implementation and the expansion of the biocultural strategy. So the biocultural focus, which is where we work in, is important to understand that it's a focus that is regenerative. It's much more ample, much more deeper than the conventional processes for monitoring ecological systems. Here we integrate community, territory, governance for the continuity of life. And doing so through the regenerative ecosystems, cultures, and means of life are being recovered, strengthened, and renew their capacity to maintain balance in time in an active relation with nature, with the indigenous peoples in the territory. Please, if we can move on. The biocultural strategy has many components. First of all, starting with governance and the community agreements, the processes for governance. He's speaking too fast. I'm really sorry. And potentializing the capacities of the communities, processes, monitoring, and accountability. The financial component is so important. And these are the bio units of the jaguar, the distribution of benefits, advocacy at a national and international level. I just want to let you know that there are many things that are going on, and every month, every week, we're working and to have new milestones that may allow us to walk and understand this process better and to achieve the results that we have today. Next, please. And the information I want to share is the technology that we're using. We are seeking to have a synergy between ancestral knowledge and traditional knowledge and the relationship between the forest and the communities with high tech and to be able to generate something powerful. Here we have information, and this is what leads us to be able to understand the baseline of what we want to do. Here you can see that this is information that is raised by the monitors of the communities and the stewards that we have, where we have the population pyramids, and we also monitor and register health aspects to be able to prioritize where we invest our resources that come from these financing mechanisms. Next, please. So everything is worked with technology. Everything can be measured. Everything can be reported through these processes, where we have many monitors that are trained. And then my sisters and brothers from Charamensa will tell you about a little later. And in terms of biodiversity, the biocultural focus, we've been able to prove that with these methods, which are not conventional, we are able to characterize the mammal population, and we've been able to register 90% of the population of mammals in a campaign. With few campaigns, we've been able to characterize the populations. Next, please. I know I'm rushing. Sorry to the interpreter. I'll try to go slower. Also, the information that the communities generate, the teams of community monitoring allow us to generate scientific information. And then we can see the distribution of the different species among them. Here in the center, in the upper hand side, you can see the distribution of the jaguar in our areas of study. I also want to let you know that we not only work with information that is registered by the monitors, but also we work with with IBER and naturalists, and we also supplement the additional information that we might be able to obtain from this area, and also we can generate data, analysis, and reports. Next, please. We can also see that in the registry, there's information about the different species that are in danger of being extinct, who are in danger. So this is really important information to generate conservation strategies. Next, please. And with this, I want to let you know, and I'm doing this really, really in a short time because Veronica and Agustin will talk more in depth about this matter, but there's a technological ecosystem where we are seeking to have interoperability of different technological infrastructures and tools through which we can have high resolution images from satellite imaging. And we also work with complex algorithms with Google Earth Engine, ArcGIS Online. We also work with all of these applications. We're also working with DBeef to mobilize data for biodiversity, where we can have tools and information like strategies for the defense of the territory, so that all of the information that reaches the region marketplace can be traceable, verifiable, and that might generate resources so that communities can improve the quality of their lives and to protect the forests. We're also starting to work with bioscanners or bioscanner, which is a strategy generated by CMIND, which is a Mexican NGO, through which artificial intelligence can improve data processing that comes from the trap chambers. And all this within the framework of sovereign indigenous data that we're working with Kinray Hub, CMIND, Natura Tech Lab, and the ecosystem that we have as allies, so that the information belongs to the indigenous communities, and this information can serve as a strategy to defend the territory and the environment. I think I'm going to go up until there. Dear Dave, dear friends, and anything we can keep on talking further on. Thank you so much.
Gracias, Joel. Is Veronica ready to share?
Veronica, are you there? Can you turn on your camera and start your presentation, please?
If you see her
Si
in,
le...
please let me know.
I can move because I have a meeting with Achuar people and I'd like to move on.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, Domingo, puedes compartir.
Sadly, I am far away and I can't turn on my video. I'm sorry, but I want to greet everyone who is here. I am very grateful for this meeting that we're launching and working as a pilot, as Joel mentioned, with SIMA and Natura Tech Labs, Pachamama Alliance, Sacred Headwaters, in 4 communities. I must thank infinitely to those who are working for conservation efforts, all of the people who are helping life and human life. As Joel said, indigenous peoples, especially the Achuar, have been historical defenders. And I am in the Achuar territory at the moment with its name that is Achuar, where the peoples took the oilers, the petroleum workers supporting the Sarayaku people. I am here, and everyone in all of this area is protected, it's taken care of, it's protecting life, ecosystems, fauna, and nature. And I'm visiting some communities, and they're 100% ready to launch and to further this project, this pilot that we're putting forward. Sacred Headwaters, its mission, its biggest mission, is permanent care of the primary forest for it to be intact with its peoples, its culture, its identity. So I want to invite all of the people who are here today, who want to add themselves to Cuencas Sagradas, who want to take action at a territorial level to be able to protect life in the next generation. Please join us. Let's join efforts. Let's work together for the next generation. I also want to say that right now we have huge problems at a global level. It's very problematic. Thankfully, the indigenous territories remains intact. Sacred Headwaters is defending, fighting for 30 million hectares where they face horrible threats from the oil industry, mining, oil. I need support in order to work in the life plans of every community. I want to invite women and men, entrepreneurs, scientists, professors, everyone, young people, so that we can join this great alliance. I don't want to take more time away from you because of technical matters. There's a team that is working in the territory. Veronica Tentets from my community, Agustin Tentets from my community. We are training people in order to broaden the program. I don't want to take more time away from you. I have the community here waiting for me. So I want to greet everyone in the name of Indigenous peoples from 30 of us.
Gracias, Domingo. Okay, I think Veronica is joining us. I am just there. She is. Stand by. Okay, Veronica, I've promoted you to a panelist. You should be able to speak, or I will just go ahead and make you allow you to speak here as a guest.
Veronica, you can speak now. Please, can you see if you can open your mic? Veronica, can you please unmute yourself and open your video? Yeah, good. Welcome, Veronica. Hi. Hello. Welcome. We can hear you. Sorry, I'm having technical issues with my computer. We're on our phones. We're gonna try to explain in the best way possible. First of all, good afternoon. My name is Veronica Tentets. I work with the conservation and the biocultural level of the Achuar community as a coordinator. Here we have Agustin Tentets as a coordinator of the monitoring system. And also, I occupy as coordinator of the Lower Pastaza area for the communities that are working in the project. Speaking about conservation, there are agreements where within the community we have in order to socialize and discuss projects, which is previous free informed consultation. So with that right, we do this within the territories with the assemblies. The assemblies are very important in order to reflect and also to have community agreements and look at the different internal regulations for the community and also for the conservation or preservation project. For this, we're opening new grounds where within the normative we have internal regulations that pertain to the conservation projects and some points where it says how many spaces you should open for production, for consumption, such as yucca plantations, etc. How many animals? There are those that are not in danger of being extinct. You can hunt for personal family consumption, not for selling. This is prohibited within the communities that we are working in. And also within this, there is provision of crafts that we can't necessarily sow in order to export, but we can plant good wood that is loggable that we need. Because recently the community has been growing and as responsible parents that we are, we need to focus on reforestation for wood for our future. Not only trees, but also having fruit trees because they provide food for our sons and daughters. Also for hunting, the ones that we perform are around 2 kilometers around the community that is allowed. It can be 2 or 3 for family personal consumption so that they can have a good diet. We also work with rivers, but we also fish and we have different regulations so that invaders can't go into our territory and can hunt our animals. And also the fish in the river Pastaza. This is prohibited. So the people who come into the community of Charamensa will seize the materials that that person has. Also, within the project, we can't have invasive species in terms of plants and insects within the territory because they're not endemic of the Amazon region. So this is prohibited. Also with the fish, such as tilapia, at the moment we work only with native species. Next slide, please. My colleague Agustin will take the floor now. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Agustin Tentes. I am the coordinator of the monitoring team, which is AMASA. I'm going to speak about the unifying governance of the territory, focused on use and conservation. We have divided in zones during an assembly where you see a green area where the community is settled. And we have community use. And also coffee. But the species that are allowed are the ones that can be hunted for in the perimeter of 2 kilometers under the agreed regulations. So there's an area that is green with little dots, and those are intangible areas where nobody can hunt or plant anything. At the shores, you can see a yellow area, and it can be opened up for family crops to not expand in the whole community. There have been also borders that have been settled with the different titles of land of the colliding areas. We belong to the global title of the ancestral community of Kapawi. Also, there are internal limits with the territories, and we've agreed on having an assembly, and we've limited the reference points that communities such as Sua, Wayusensa, and Charapacocha we have seen in terms of our territorial limits. What do we monitor and what do we monitor? And where? In areas of the territory of the Achuar territory of Saramensa, in the greener space and also in the brown area that you see, we've monitored in the field of species, mammals of all types, but we've been monitoring our territory in particular. For strengthening of capacities, we need to train people. Thanks to the allies who are in this challenge to conserve the territory, we have these trap chambers or camera traps that we have bought also in the rest of the communities as well. There's a drone that we also have to be able to monitor from above, to be able what is going on with logging and what is being opened up without previous consultation. And people have to ask for authorization in order to open a space for crops. We also have smartphones, 3 of them, that we've given out to the community. There are 15 in total in the Bajo Pastaza area. There are 8 digital forms that are taking place, especially for monitoring. We have a computer and a printer, one per community, and also camping equipment. And this is important so that we can remain where we are and also to be able to go and come back in 2 days. Next, please. In the monitoring, we've been strengthening capacities. Here you can see pictures with the different monitoring teams. You can see Joel also training us. We've also trained to register fisheries, installation of cameras, and also to see how we can install the different technology so that we can monitor the animals, at what level, orientation, etc. We've trained all of the communities and the communities that are joining our efforts as well. We've verified all of the information. We've had workshops. We've revised surveys, forms, and also field practices and how the installations take place and the smartphones and the camera traps in order to be able to manage these cameras. Sometimes technology is not easy to digest, but we've been able to do that because of these activities that we've performed. For monitoring or biodiversity, as you can see, there are different species of animals that we've monitored. You can see puma, deer, a jaguar, a tapir. We've monitored this, and we have a lot of registries. We have a lot of input that we've just shown the most important efforts that we've been working on, because there's a lot of information in the camera traps. I'm giving the word to Veronica again. The distribution of benefits, all of our allies who have worked with us, all the people who have allowed us to access the financial funds are for the benefit of the communities, and we've invested in many activities. As you can see, the beautiful thing about this project is that, first of all, we do an investment plan. We make the decision as a community within the assembly, and we prioritize what is needed by the community for the activities. We've implemented many things such as raising fisheries, building a communal space, and supporting for the community tourism center of Xaramensa. Next, please. Next, please. As you could see in the image, these are activities that we've performed within the territory so that the benefits that the community has received, such as bridges, four bridges, piers, and satellite internet for two communities, Shuimamos and Napura, the community house or the community space for Xaramensa, Shuimamos, and tourist cabins, classrooms. We built a classroom for the Xaramensa community, and also a faculty house for the Xaramensa community for professors. We've also strengthened administration processes for communities to legalize the councils for each community. And also, we reforested with fruit trees. We planted 1,672 plants. Food safety for the school of Ria Pastaza, a warehouse in Xaramensa. We also gave 100 hens for food security or food safety. We also we've delivered also alevines chicken that's 1,290. We gave that to the Xaramensa community, and also different materials that we've given now to the community of Xaramensa, which are 79. And other than that, at the beginning, we also had a bonus of 8,700 that we used to help the production for those who are members of the community, who are elders and founders. But we have to close the session for medicine and also other types of equipment. Thank you. Next. Thank you, Vero. Thank you.
Thank you
Gracias,
so
gracias.
much. We're going to go ahead and switch back to English. Thank you, everyone. An amazing presentation, and just a reminder of the incredible work being done in the community to monitor, report, to provide feedback around how to implement this methodology for conservation and support for the Plan de Vida. So I'm going to go ahead and talk briefly about what Regen Network's role is. Regen Network has built the infrastructure for Indigenous-led natural capital development. Our goal here has been since the beginning to listen to this community, to understand what their needs are, to best express how to protect the forest and how to protect their own cultures and livelihoods in the best way possible. And so we've been working for years to develop digital infrastructure to support this effort. We built a registry and a ledger, a publicly governed ecological accounting ledger specifically for valuing nature and the people's work within it. We've built a marketplace for the sale of ecological credits like biodiversity credits, like carbon credits and others. Developed a methodology, co-developed it with our friends at ERA Brazil. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. And we've done it in public in hopes of building trust around what it means to protect these forests in consideration and in coordination with the local community, and developed credit calculators to better understand how are we valuing the work and the work to protect these important ecosystems and the communities behind them. So, a big part of what we have done with our friends at Era Brazil is develop a methodology, an umbrella species methodology, and it started years ago, back in 2022. And I won't go over each section here, but I think the important part to understand is this has been a long area of work for us in collaboration with Era Brazil, in collaboration with the Charamensa community and other communities that are considering onboarding to the biocultural strategy. And it is a methodology that we will continue to build and develop and iterate in public with communities to best understand how to adapt ecological conservation and the plan de vidas of these communities protecting these forests. A big challenge, I think, across what we would call nature markets is building trust. And so the trust issue, in some ways it's frustrating listening to the communities, to Agustin, listening to Veronica, listening to Domingo, who have been stewarding these lands and for generations. The amount of work that we need to do to communicate to the global North capital interests, the type of the integrity and the level of conservation can sometimes feel makes me crazy because you can see the level of effort and the accountability that's been provided. We try to take that stewardship. We compare it with the methodology. Compare it against reporting and verification, and then bring that into technological infrastructure that allows us to tell the story of trust, to tell the story of repair and conservation, to tell the story of these communities working so hard to protect these lands and support their way of life. And so we've done this in 3 or 4 ways around immutability. So when claims are made around ecological repair, you can confirm that these claims have not been changed or they are not held by a private entity. They are on a public blockchain specifically designed to build trust around the veracity of that claim. We give you the ability to dive into all of the claims and all of the transactions so everyone can see what is happening related to this particular project with the goal of building a shared understanding of how we develop a great methodology for this particular community and verify the impact that is happening on the ground. We build the methodologies in public, in coordination, in collaboration. We communicate all of this throughout the entire process and share reports, like I've shared here on the rigorous MRV section, where any of you can now go into this particular project and start to see post by post all of the reports and all of the methodology and all of the activities that are happening on the ground. And what this makes possible, this is an important part. We're building, and a huge credit goes to the Shada Mensa community. This has been a lot of work to bring all of these relationships together, right? To build the right relationships, to build trust. But in doing so, in the years that it's taken the communities and Region Network and Asha and Fundación Pachamama to work together to build trust with each other, and then to build trust with the buyers and to build trust with other organizations and institutions who are looking to support indigenous-led conservation. What we are doing here is creating the ability to scale and to replicate. Our goal is to work with our colleagues at Asha, our colleagues at Fundación Pachamama, Pachamama Alliance, and allow other communities to be able to build these to be able to use these tools to be able to share what they need for as far as tools and methodology development to support their communities and go from 10,000 hectares to 20 over 20 million hectares over the course of the coming years. And what did we do here? What our first issuance? We've developed issued 6,238 credits. 2,700 plus of those were already been purchased and retired by the folks who purchased the pre-finance credits. And a big shout to all of the buyers early on, some of whom are on this call, who invested early on to support the ability to train the community to be able to support the community's input to how to upgrade this methodology to better execute on the ground and to gather data. That early funding allowed for the development and official issuance of these credits, and we still have over $80,000 worth of credits remaining, and that's where we're turning to you all. What does one credit fund? So the credits are based a cost basis. What does it cost to conserve the forest, to monitor the forest, to continue to institute the Plan de Vida, and to continue to grow the partnership around the biocultural strategy? And the community and our teams worked together and established a price of $24 per credit. And these are the types of activities that it supports. And I think you can see here, given the amazing reports back from the community, the level of rigor and due diligence that these communities are implementing to meet the execution of this methodology to show to the world the conservation happening and the continued improvement of practices. And if you have the ability to, if you have your phone, you can right now uh, um, put your camera on this QR code, and you can go right to the page to purchase credits or learn more about what these credits are all about, their methodology, and all the reports. So what is your purchase creating? And again, all of this work here, all of this work of monitoring, reporting, verification, the scientific rigor, the due diligence, training communities, and making really creating a vulnerable space where all of this work that has been happening for many millennia is now being shown in a way that is embodying the best of trust and the best of transparency, but it requires a market on the other side to reward that activity. This is how we can grow this community. It is to purchase credits, biocultural Jaguar credits, to purchase the remaining $80,000 worth, and to prepare to buy even more, right? How do we develop an annual community stewardship fund for these communities to maintain and support their ability to grow their own culture and their own practices and conserve these forests? So this is some of the benefits. And one of the ones that, again, beyond the obvious benefits to the planet because of these important ecosystems, beyond how we patrol how the areas are patrolled and the camera traps are set up, is that we need to show indicators to this market, right? To the biodiversity credit markets, which I'd say, have been trying to find their way. Like, where do they fit? What are going to be the best credits to invest in? And I think it is sending a strong signal to the markets as a whole for community members and all of you on the call to be able to purchase these and vote with your dollars on the future of community-led, indigenous-led forest stewardship. And I would like to introduce Elise Sohm from Altos Planos. She's one of been the early pioneers supporting this biocultural strategy. She's here on the call. She is thankfully accepted an invitation to join to be the co-chair of the Buyers Club that we're going to be developing specifically for companies and institutions, organizations, and individuals who want to be part of funding this journey of Indigenous-led stewardship. And Elise, I want to welcome you and just again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for your early engagement and support here. We would love to hear a little bit more about your role, and why you were inspired to purchase credits and to make this investment.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Elise. I am the co-founder of a good tequila, I would say, but also head of sustainability. And we started our company about 5 years ago. And from the start of the company, we decided that we wanted to be as sustainable as possible, having the least impact possible at a time where, purchasing carbon credits was a must for a company like us with, producing in Mexico, delivering goods in the US and around the world. We were thinking, okay, carbon credits are probably a way to go. And then we also, obtain the first B Corp certification to try to cover as much as we can in terms of sustainability and impact and responsibility as a company. But again, in the time where carbon credit were a little flooded, I want to say, where you couldn't trust anyone of like, you buy credits and then you don't know what is counted once or twice, so whatever. We needed to find a reliable source, and thankfully for my team here, Perespen, who's also on the call, introduced me to this amazing program where I think is really important, David, because as you mentioned, the biocultural diversity Jaguar credits. I don't know how you want to call them. They were always, but it's you basically protecting a whole ecosystem. You basically giving the money straight to the community. And the reason why we decided to go that route is because we wanted to make sure that, you know, it goes where we saw the work. We saw the work from the beginning. We saw where it's going. We saw how important our contribution as a company is, um, and we will continue to give as much as we can because there's I mean this is the motherland. This is where we have to protect our forest. And like Domingo said earlier, the forest, no culture and no culture, no air. So I think, for us to protect a jaguar is much more than that. As I said earlier, you protect a whole ecosystem, and the fact that it is on a platform like Region Network, it allow us to trust, right? To like once a credit is retired, it's retired. And that was very important for companies like us. And I hope that, we can have a lot more companies that do come and join the the work and the movement because there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more to protect, and it's yeah, thank you for having me on board, and we'll continue to support.
A big shout out to Elise and the Altos Planos team. Again, putting their money where their mouth is. Elise, thank you so much and looking forward to working with you to
Me
build a
too.
whole movement of buyers, right? Let's flush as much capital as possible into this project and help grow and show the world that this is an important way to show up when it comes to supporting Indigenous-led stewardship.
And also, I wanted to add just quickly, David, as I see a lot of people on the team, like from Chara I miss Chara so much. It was such a beautiful place to be and understand, what is the purpose of, someone on this planet. And I feel like, I could definitely help into bringing capital, and other companies into preserving the motherland. So it's a pleasure to support you guys.
Thank you. And so, as I mentioned before, we're creating a container called the Biocultural Stewardship Buyer Circle. And the goal here is to bring in a group of folks who are willing to spend, and we're thinking, and we're building in public here, something to the amount of about $1,000 annually for the purchase or more of the purchase of biocultural credits, and then creating special programming for this group, creating special ways for them to interact with each other and with the community, knowing that we do need to build support and demand by folks who have the ability to allocate capital. So whether you are on this call and you can participate in the buyer circle, or if you have somebody in your network, a CEO, high net worth individual, corporation, institution, granting group. We're looking for candidates to help us grow a community of folks who will start by supporting Shara Mensa and the Biocultural Jaguar credit, but also thinking about the continued growth and expansion of the biocultural strategy, which will bring in additional communities and millions of more hectares. And so we're hoping to build a powerful movement around this. If you're interested in participating in this stewardship buyer circle, please let me know. And myself and Elise, we are looking for a co-chair as well, in addition to Elise. But this is your opportunity to leverage your networks and leverage your personal resources to advance this important movement. Okay, before I pivot over to Atosa, as we've mentioned, we've talked a lot about a movement here, right? This started with the community of Shara Mensa, and they've been incredible in the way that they've shown up and taken this opportunity to engage with the world quite seriously. And we have visions for north of 20 million plus hectares, right? This is not stopping with one community. The goal is to stitch together and build a family of communities around the biocultural strategy, each with their own expression of how they seek to provide indigenous-led stewardship and express their own plan de vida. And so Atosa is going to join us. She's here and share a little bit more about Asha's vision for bringing the larger movement to the Amazon headwaters and the Bioregional Fund to support that work.
Thank you, David. Hello, everybody. And I just want to express my deep gratitude to all the presenters from the community, Veronica, Agustin, Domingo, who's also from Shara Mensa, and to you, David, for organizing us, and Elise. Deep gratitude. I'm very inspired. Some of this stuff is sometimes very conceptual. Now you get to see in practice what Indigenous-led stewardship looks like. And so the bigger context of this is that an alliance of 30 Indigenous nations represented by 28 organizations are working together around a shared vision to permanently protect the headwaters bioregion, the size of Germany, as was mentioned before, Ecuador and northern Peruvian Amazon and the Napo, Pastaza, and Marañón river basins. So this alliance formed in 2017. Next slide, please. And it's basically focusing on, we developed a bioregional plan that was a strategy that was very holistic, that really looked at how to bring advance Indigenous livelihoods, support conservation, defend territories and rights, and really transition the dominant economic paradigm from extractive to regenerative. And so you see here our key strategic priorities. Securing territories and rights is a key priority of Indigenous peoples everywhere. Advancing well-being, which includes community conservation programs, community well-being programs based on communities' own life plans. And then here's where everybody's coming in now. We're working on this radical collaboration with Region, with all of the organizations you heard about, with Fundación Pachamama, and also all of you as allies around the world who are funders, who are basically, strategic partners, and really to do with advocacy as well as strengthening the capacity of organizations and improving our own efficiency as an alliance. Or, our theory of change is the more we work together, the more inclusive and driven by the frontline priorities of communities, the more effective we are at protecting this. And lastly, to generate resources at scale. You heard about the Jaguar Bicultural Stewardship Strategy. Basically, it's a conservation basic income for the community in exchange for their commitment to conserve and protect their territories. And just to put this in the context, we can basically look at how to scale this from current 50,000 hectares, which includes Shara Mensa and the 3 nearby communities, to 1.5 million hectares by 2030. And as David said, 20 million hectares beyond that. This is a scaling approach. Next slide, please. I do want to say that all of this is really in the context of the global context. Less than almost half of the world's tropical rainforests are on indigenous lands. and less than 1% of philanthropic funds for climate and biodiversity and for conservation make it to the territories. The Sacred Headwaters Alliance was founded by the indigenous movements who first committed to protecting their territories and to challenge the extractive model, and now to bring direct access to financing to the front lines, to the thousands of communities that are part of the Sacred Headwaters bioregion. And the idea is to provide a container to do that. We are working together with the BioFi project that is basically helping us design and birth a very exciting initiative that is the Amazon Sacred Headwaters Bioregional Fund. Now, the fund is to basically scale the amount of funding that is able to be directed towards conservation, bioeconomy, regeneration, defense of rights, land rights. And, our goal is to eventually be 20 times bigger than we are currently, that are able to sustain direct support to communities over the long term. We're working to develop, these financial mechanisms with a lot of indigenous leadership and vision. And it is also not, also groups like Region, groups like BioFi, and all of you can play a role in helping us design how we bring catalytic capital that includes, basically includes both philanthropy, this biocredit sales, biocultural credit sales, as well as impact investing. We want to be a living bridge connecting the ancestral wisdom of indigenous peoples with some modern innovation and global solidarity, because, of course, time is of the essence. And you heard 80% of the Amazon Sacred Headwaters bioregion is threatened by extractive industries. The fund that we're working to bring about would fund the preparedness of communities, like you see, to be able to develop their own norms, their own train their monitors, get the equipment, begin to generate these, digital donations that support their interventions to conserve their lands. And that eventually we're also doing grants to the, basically grants in the areas that are most threatened, that are threatened by roads, by oil and mining, grants to community monitors, and then revolving loan fund that help to bring in seed capital for enterprises like ecotourism, like the production of vanilla and the bioeconomy supply chains. So really, blended finance, indigenous governance, and global solidarity is what's going to help us to rise to this occasion. The Amazon's at the tipping point. I don't have to tell the groups here. We need all hands on deck to basically support what is already happening, support the work and the commitment of indigenous peoples on the front lines. Thank you so much for having me on this call. And again, join us. We need all hands on deck. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Atosa. Okay, as we close up, we'd like to close with Belen Paez. Belen's been a really long time, powerful advocate for Indigenous-led stewardship and sovereignty. She's been an important partner for growing this biocultural strategy. And Belen, I was hoping you could help summarize today and leave people with something to think about, a call to action for us all as we continue on this journey together.
Hello, everyone. I want to recognize everyone here: David, Atosa, Veronica, Domingo, Agustin, Elise, Perez Pen, Anna, Bill, Twist, Gregory Landua. Not all of them had the chance to talk, but we are together. And yeah, you have seen how protecting 10,000 hectares of forest is really difficult, but protecting and scaling to 30 million hectares requires something much bigger. I will say, like a true army of committed people, institutions, funders, companies, and communities working together. We heard in the conversation around the last 2 years in the conventions that we heard a lot of new financial tools: biodiversity credits, green bonds, blended finances. They are important, but the real question is simple. Does the support reach the territories? Does it strengthens the people who are keeping the forest alive, as Veronica, as Agustin? So initiatives like this club of the bio clubs and the bioregional facilities, the bioregional mechanisms, the fund, are important because they move us from intention into action. They are designed to channel resources to real places, real ecosystems, and real communities. So today, I really want to invite you to move from listening to this participation and hear about so much detail. And this is the integrity, that's the love of this powerful gathering. So many people working for so many years. So by choosing to act today, by buying, funding, partnering, and standing with Indigenous peoples, you are not only supporting a project in the Amazon, in the Lower Pastaza, but you are really helping to protect cultures, species, waters, and futures cannot be replaced. So I would like just to add that if you are already a buyer, as Elisa, and this kind of partnership, your choice can create a real demand for protection in the tropical rainforest. If you are a funder already, your capital can unlock transformation, can permanently protect the Amazon region in Ecuador and Peru. And if you are an ally, a friend, your voice can strengthen justice and integrity. So thank you for your presence, your commitment, and your willingness to act. And as David says, there are like so many choices that you can go and help us to explore this kickoff for the second phase. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Belen. So in closing, today it's your time, right? We are the ones that we have been waiting for, right? Stand with Indigenous people, stand for the forest, stand for the jaguar, and stand for the communities that are supporting these lands. So thank you everyone for joining us today for purchasing biocultural jaguar credits. You can see the QR code one more time. We'll follow up this presentation with an email to everyone with the recording, the slide deck, and some other important links. If you are interested in joining the Buyers Club, please let me know. If you are interested in buying credits and need another way of paying for them, please let me know. But otherwise, thank you for being part of this movement, and a huge shout to all of our speakers today, Joel, Belen, Atosa, Agustin, Veronica, and very excited and really proud of all the work that everyone's done here. So congratulations, everyone. Let's we got to keep pushing. Thank you, everyone.
Gracias, David, gracias.
Thank you,
everyone. Gracias, Atosita, gracias, Joel.
Gracias.
Agustín.
Todos,
Gracias,
Agustín,
gracias a todos.
Verónica, Joel.
Gracias, Agustín.